This is a clone of Fuzz Face that I built, with external sockets for transistors and input capacitor, and which I cleverly named the interface. So when I was investigating what transistors should I use when building a germanium Fuzz Face, the common answer would be to look for gain between 70 and 130 and low leakage. It is what you can read in the Technology of Fuzz Face article by R.D. King. But what is low, exactly? And why low? They never tell you that. And I need to know. Then my idea is to tinker around and find out. My plan is to find transistors of the same type with very similar gain and significantly different leakage, and test them with the interface. See if there's any difference. If you look at a random germanium Fuzz Face schematic, specified transistor will most likely be AC128. There were different types used in the original, but mostly you will see AC128 or NKT275. And there may be a discussion of which is truly original and sounds better, and I don't want to go there now. I will test AC128s. Considering gain, these transistors vary a lot, even for germanium standards. It would be somewhere between 20 and 200, with about 30% of units being within recommended range. While gain is sort of all over the place, leakage is more predictable, usually between 100 and 200 microampere, and is almost never really low. Long story short, finding a set of transistors that would suit the idea for the experiment wasn't easy. Before I begin, have in mind that I'm not a guitar guy. I don't have a guitar amp. I use digital workstation and I treat fuzzboxes as external hardware plugins. I will connect the effect output to Focusrite ISA 1, which acts as my DI box. Then it goes straight to my audio card. So we will experience direct out sound in all of its ugliness, with no sugarcoating. The guitar I will be using is Yamaha RGX-A2, bridge humbucker with no tone control. I measured gain and leakage with this device. All measurements were taken at the same time. Room temperature is 21 degrees Celsius, that is about 71 degrees Fahrenheit. Here's my monitoring setup. I will play some direct guitar sounds, that is with no effects. Let's rewind and pause. This is first oscilloscope with a distance view. It's useful to check if effect output is symmetric, which is generally desirable, and would be very hard to notice by ear. Here's second oscilloscope, zoomed in view, where you can examine the waveforms. First spectrum analyzer with linear scale, useful to assess noise level or notice high-frequency oscillation. Second analyzer, logarithmic scale, to check on low end of the spectrum. And we have the interface in the middle. There are 4 controllers. Volume and fuzz will be set to maximum. Then there are Q1 and Q2 bias controllers. They replaced 33K and 8.2K resistors between power and collector. Q2 bias is set to about 8.2K as in the original schematic, and I will leave it this way. So I will be only adjusting first transistor bias, that is the black knob. Maximum value is 50K. The red thing here is 2.2 microfarad polyester input capacitor. I prefer smaller values, but for this test it matches the original schematic. I will start with low leakage transistors. These have about 100 of gain and about 100 of leakage. The leakage is as good as it gets for AC128, at least in this gain range. I picked these gain values because these were ones that I could find close transistor matches, with as big leakage difference as possible. As you can see, the waveform is slightly asymmetric. Let's see what will happen if I increase the bias. So it's even more asymmetric. Now I will try to turn it all the way down. And it goes the other way. Also, there is a different kind of distortion or saturation on the opposite sides. Now I will try to adjust bias to make waveform more or less symmetric. It's a matter of taste, but I think it's the point where you get optimal sound. Unless you are in the mood for the extreme, which is a whole different story. Okay, so now I'm going to swap Q2 for another transistor with more leakage. We'll see if it makes a difference. This is the most leaky AC128 I could find within close gain range. The gain is nearly identical, at least at current temperature, but the leakage is twice as big. I can't hear or feel any difference. By feel, I mean that it would respond differently, forcing me to play softer or harder to compensate. There is this noise peak which is outside of my hearing range. But I think it's unrelated. It's something contaminating my room being received by guitar pickup. We are old friends, even though I don't know where it comes from. It comes and goes. Or maybe I held guitar at different angle after changing transistors. Now I will try to check what is going to happen when Q2 has even more leakage. For this I will need to change transistor type to AC125. It is somewhat different than AC128. It's a bit faster, so possibly sound character may change. In general, AC125 have much more gain and leakage than AC128. So we are going to double the leakage again. I don't think I could tell this apart from previous tests. It feels the same. Noise floor is slightly elevated, but this may be the matter of different speed rating. It is likely AC125 amplifies high frequencies a bit better. I'm going to put the least Leaky Q2 variant back in. Now let's change Q1. Here's another leakier AC128. Well, something has changed. We have waveform offset again. I will need to adjust bias controller. Let's see how would it look like if I used 33K resistor as in the original schematic. That doesn't sound great to me. I will try to adjust bias and get the output centered. That is, eliminate the offset. That's better. So I would have to use 12K resistor instead of 33K to accommodate this transistor. Also, it does push the sound toward the splattery flavor, which I like and which starts to emerge when you decrease the resistor value. It looks like first transistor leakage has impact on waveform offset. 180 microampere of leakage is not a huge number. Let's see what would happen if we doubled that. Again, I will need to use AC 125. This one has more than 400 microampere of leakage. Now we're getting serious. As I expected, the offset is back. Let's dial to 33K bias and see what would it sound like if I used this transistor with original schematic. I guess this is the sound of a broken Fuzz Face. Let's try to find the bias value that would eliminate the offset. So this doesn't sound bad. But we've got a nasty noise floor. And it was rather difficult to dial in, as the sweet spot was getting quite narrow. So we get noise or offset. And it gets even more temperature sensitive, because the more leakage we have, the more it will grow with temperature rise. If you want to draw your own conclusions, this video ends here. My takeaways from this experiment would be: first, if you like Fuzz Face, better have climate control in your studio or bedroom. If you are looking to get a Fuzz Face, get one with easily accessible bias control. If you are building a Fuzz Face, leakage matters, but apparently only really for the first transistor. And finally, tinkering with germanium fuzziness is my kind of fun. Remember not to subscribe, and be careful not to hit anything.